Good morning. So here we are again, Psalms 143:8. Let me hear of your unfailing love each morning, for I am trusting you. Show me where to walk, for I give myself to you, Lord. And I do. I tell you the truth, I've been trying to walk that path for many years, and that don't mean I'm perfect because I fall off sometimes. But you know what? We have an advocate with Jesus, and he will intercede for us to the Father. And if we ask forgiveness, then we're forgiven. And I thank the Lord for that. He loves us, and I'm so thankful. So this morning, I have been busy. I ran a little short that I was running to Myers to buy James a pair of Skechers because I had made some money on YouTube, and I'm going to buy him a present of good shoes. You know, when you get to be, let's see, how old is he now? I think he's about 83, going to be 84. So when you are a senior citizen, you need a good pair of shoes, and he's on his feet nearly all day long except for his nap time, which is an hour and a half. So I went I went to Myers this morning and I bought some cherries, those black cherries. They're dark, they so good. They were $1.99 a pound. Then I got some fresh corn, 5 ears for $1. That sale is over now, I found out. And I thought it wasn't over. And I picked out 5 ears and I said, and it looked like it'd been there a little while. And so anyhow, I thought, well, these are pretty good because I was raised on a farm and I know good ear of corn when I see it. So I picked over what was left. The sale was over. I didn't know that. So when went to check out, she rung them up and they were like 364. I said, I thought they were five for $1. I'm sorry. I said, I believe I'll pass them up. And so the girl was helping me with the cherries and stuff. You have to weigh it and look them up and everything. And Walmart's different from Myers, and some of the checkout stands are different. There wasn't hardly anybody there because I went early, kiddos. I got out of here. So anyway, I said, so thanks anyhow. I'm sorry. I thought they were still on sale. She says, no, they're not. I said, well, okay. And she just went over and she started tapping some stuff. She said, there you are, five for $1. I applied a coupon. I said, thank you. So they were nice ears. You know, I know how to pick them. So I got 5 ears and I am loving this fresh corn. I like to cut it off the cob. First, I put it in the microwave two at a time and do them for 6 minutes each. And then they come out perfect. You cut off the ends and the top and just put them in the microwave. You don't peel all the husk off. You just peel part of it off. And then I cut it. And then you can make gravy with it, but we like them with just butter on it. Just our teeth is not that great anymore that we eat it corn on the cob. That's life. So I was at Myers, bought some more cookies, and I got chocolate chip for James. They make them. They ship that dough in and they cook it at the store, and they're 20 big cookies. I mean that big for 6.29. So they last a while because you only eat one at a time. That's a plenty with a cup of coffee. And I have my coffee. You can warm it up, 7 creams, regular, but senior coffee. Bad news. They went up 10 cents a cup. Can you imagine? James says, we're not complaining because that still makes it practically, I mean, reasonable, very reasonable. So now it's 2 cups of senior coffees for like $1.49. We was paying $1.28. Well, I don't know. I'm not good at math, but I like this scene I got this morning, and I was looking at this scene, and I tell you what, this is beautiful, but I would not want to live there. They've got the lights on in there, so maybe they have electric, but I wouldn't want to live in a place like that and with wild animals in your yard. See that wild animal there? That's a big old stag. He's got horns way up high. Of course, I think they're harmless. I don't know. It's beautiful and I like to look at it, but I bet you Pamela's hiding there somewhere so that stag can't get her. That's my girlfriend from Florida. And they quit uh, doing her. She'll do a long comment, and they'll just erase her. And I think they think she's stalking me because she tells me she loves me all the time, and I love her too. I love all of y'all because in Jesus we love each other and pray for one another. And she prays for me, and I pray for y'all. And it's such a tragedy that's happened down in Texas that I can't even hardly bear to think about it. I just cannot. I cannot. Such tragedy. But that's what's happening in this world. And that river never went up like that before, but it raised like 35 foot in 1 hour. 1 hour. And they're still counting people that are gone. So we're going to look on the bright side as we can and thank God for our blessings and pray for these people that the Lord will comfort them and help them in their time of sorrow. That's all we can do. And most of them, it was Christian camps for kids, most of them, and they were all along the river. And it was such a beautiful place. And that never happened before in all this time, but it happened. And so they need to move their camps back away from the river. It might happen again, but they all had camps, a lot of those different churches. And of course, there was counselors and kids and all kinds of people there working, cooks, and because they have cabins. And I used to send my kids to church camp every year. And it really established them in the Lord because they learned to make friends with kids like minded like them, which they still have, some of them. And it would be for a week. And we could go visit, but we couldn't stay. So we couldn't stay. We couldn't go during the week. We could go the last night to pick them up for the service, the last service. And they used to have the best singer, and he was a gospel singer, and he went on to be famous. And he preached kids camp, and he was on TBN a long time. Walt, I can't remember his name. Karen, somebody, if you know it, and he's passed away now. And he had the prettiest black hair back then, but when he was on TV on his program singing, it turned white just like James's did. And his James used to be real black-headed. Of course, I did not really know him when he was black-headed. The only time I ever saw James when he was black-headed was when I've told others about it. The library was right across from his office down in New Albany. And of course, I go to the library about every week or every other week for sure and get me 5 or 6 books because I always did a lot of reading, especially after the kids got older. So there was this office right across the street. I thought it was a junk store because he had this big window and it had all this stuff in it, that antiques and stuff, which, honey, I have lived with antiques. I don't want no more. Thank you. And he had like old stoves and and churns. I have churned butter. Mom had a churn, and we milked cows. We saved our cream, and then when it gets sour, then you churn it, and you get butter. And that's a hard job. It's a round churn, and it goes up and down, up and down, up, and it just takes forever to make butter. And once the butter is made, you have to kind of gather it up, and you get the water out of it, the liquid out of it, and then you put it in a butter mold and let it harden. And honey, there is nothing like real butter. And we salted ours, and I buy salted butter to this day because that's all I've ate for years is real butter. That's what I like, and I eat fats, and I like bacon. So, but I'm 91, and I eat pretty well whatever I want. Someone asked me, "What would you attribute to how you have lived so long?" And I've only got one answer, children, and that's Jesus. It's God, because you pray for your food and you ask Him to bless it to the nourishment of your body, and He does. He really does. I remember, when Buddy and I were on the evangelistic field. I don't know how many of y'all listen to this, but we were on the evangelistic field. And we always, after church, would go in the past parsonage, or they would come to our fifth wheel, and we would have some snacks together and maybe a cup of tea or a cup of something or soft drink. I like milk. So, anyway, We was at this one church down in Louisiana, and we went over to the parsonage after church, and she had made a pie, and it was delicious. And she cut it in pieces and gave us our piece and our drink. And she said, "Well, you know what?" She said, "I don't want to bless this to the nourishment of my body. It's too good. Lord, don't let it nourish my body too much, but I'm going to eat it. But I thank you for the food, but not to bless it to the nourishment of her body, because that's part of the prayer that, oh, I lost my, let's see if I can get that back. I don't know if I can or not. Oh, well, what are we going to get here? I don't know. Shall we play with this a little? What's this one? Hmm. Maybe I'll just turn it off. But it was fun while it lasted. You know, that's what I say about a lot of things. Enjoy it while it lasts, because everything is passing. Nothing stays forever. Now, here's a pretty one. Let's see this one. I don't know what that is, but you know what they have there? That's nice. We'll just let that be here for a while, whatever happens. And you know, that's the way I kind of live now anymore, that I just make the best of it. And so I went to Myers. Heaven only, whoops, heaven only knows what I'm liable to talk about next. And I saw Chit Chat Granny Pat say before, what am I going to talk about now? I don't know. It just comes to me. But anyway, I went to Myers to buy him some shoes. You know, I'm getting money from YouTube now, and I got enough to buy him a nice pair of shoes, because when you're a senior, you should take care of your feet. And I do. I wear Skechers. So my girlfriend down at the Y that wears Skechers, her and Nancy and Steve, they wear Skechers all the time, and she wears the Go Sketcher. So I went. She said they're on sale at Myers, you know. So I said, okay, I'm going today. And so I went this morning, and of course I got some groceries, and so I went back to the shoe department, and there was this little lady, senior citizen, about like me, sitting there trying on sandals. And her husband was standing around watching her. And she was trying on this pair, that pair, and the other pair. And so I looked at some of the shoes. They just had hundreds of shoes there. I mean, I never saw so many. They got a really big shoe department. So anyhow, I saw this one pair, and they were size 11. She said, honey, this is the women's department. And her husband was standing there. He said, I'll show you where the men's department is. But they had size 11 and big sizes. So I thought it was the men's department. I don't go to Myers that much except to buy groceries, and there's specials like those 5 ears of corn that was supposed to be for $1, which ended up okay. So he says, here, I'll show you. So we went over to the other side, and I showed you. I made, I had James put his foot down on a painting thing that I was going to paint a picture on and never did get it done. So we drew around his foot, and I took it with me. And this man, her husband, he said, well, just let her try on all she wants and I'll help you. I know where they're all at. This is where we shop all the time. I said, well, I don't, and I'm not familiar with this part of Myers. Oh, this is a real pretty, look at those beautiful flowers. Thank you, Lord, for all these pictures and nature and what you give us down here. I mean, I just live with a thankful spirit. I really do. Thank you, Lord, for each and every day. And you know what I say a lot of times? It was fun while it lasted. So we enjoy it while it lasts. And I don't know how long it'll be here. It may switch in a little bit, but that's life. So we won't worry about it. Okay, so he takes me over to the men's section. He said, now they got these here. These are all slip ins. And these here has got strings. I mean, you would think he worked there. He knew everything. What a blessing. What a blessing. So I had that picture of James's foot, which we drew this morning. And so we tried the 11s, and they were too short. So we tried the 11s and a half. That was the wider ones. And that was just perfect with his foot. So I picked him out a pair with the help of this kind gentleman. I don't know what his name was, and I didn't make a short on it. Didn't even think about it. I'm too busy buying a pair of shoes for James. So when I'm into it, I'm into it. Aren't y'all sometimes that way? So I finally, I said, I believe he would prefer not a slip on, but one that he could tie the strings and loosen them up and stuff. And he says a lot of people do. And I said, I believe he's one of them. So I said, and I saw that pair. They put all of them up on top. You can look and see what kind you might want. And then you find the size. So we picked out a pair of 11 and a halves and I brought them home. So I said, James, I got your shoes. Try them on. He tried them on. I said, now walk around in them a little bit and see how they feel. He walked around a little bit here in this living room. He said, they feel good. I'm going to wear them today. He said, how much did they cost? I said, the price tag is in the box if you want to look at it. So he looked at it. He said, thank you. And I'm not going to tell you what they cost, but they weren't cheap. I splurged a little. But I tell you what, when you get to be a senior citizen, you need to wear a pair of shoes that you can be comfortable in all day long while you're on your feet. Now, this watch that I wear all the time says ever so often, get up and move around. And so old people, that's what we are. In fact, Jack, get up and move around often. And I do. That's one reason I can't hardly go to church and sit for 2 hours because I've got to get up and move around. If I don't, I get stiff and it don't feel good. So I just move around quite a bit. And I usually get over a mile and a half or 2 miles in every day, which is pretty good. But now my daughter Kim, she walks like 10,000 steps a day to 15. She's got that farm out there, 2 acres, taking care of the chickens and her garden and everything. And she gets a lot of steps and she wears a thing that tells her how many steps she got. And her husband does too. Bruce does too. So she was chatting with me and Karen Kathy the other day. And she said, Bruce said, I want to trade watches with you. He said, because I only get so many steps and it ain't near what you're getting. I think your watch is wrong, probably. Maybe it ain't right. So let's swap and see what happens. I don't know if they did or not, but I'm curious to find out if they swapped and what happened. I don't know. He just didn't think she was getting in that many steps, but I don't know. She keeps moving, that's for sure, a whole lot. But I'm not there with her, but I know she's a go-getter. She's always taking care of them chickens and going outside and petting them. And she's got names almost. I mean, she's got probably 50 chickens and she's named all her roosters and her turkeys. And she ain't got that many turkeys, I think three. But there's one she got that she raised from a baby and it's a grown turkey. And he wants to kill me when he sees me. I don't care. Now, I wore red one time, a scarf, and he just jumped right up into my face. So I don't get near him anymore because I tell you what, he could hurt you. Fact is, the prime men, when Kim, or now they've got him fenced in now, but before they had him fenced in, because he was just like a kid, he could come and go as he pleased. He would knock on the door to come in the house to be with his mommy. And he's Christopher. So she calls him Chris for short. So when the prime man would pull in her driveway to deliver a package, he just blowed his horn, and Kim had to come out and get the package because Christopher wouldn't let him out of the truck. He would get on them, and they were afraid of him, and they might as well be because you don't know about that turkey. Melissa, her other granddaughter besides, no, Vanessa. Kim's got two daughters, Vanessa and Melissa, and Vanessa visits quite often. And she says to me, we need to have Chris for Thanksgiving. Would you help me? I said, I think about it. I said, I'm tempted because he's a mean turkey. Of course, we couldn't kill him. He is Kim's baby, and she can pick him up. And I don't know what he weighs, probably 20 pounds or 25 pounds. You know, you can buy them big old turkeys at the market and just carry him around and hug up with him. And he just leans on her because she's his mommy. I don't want no turkey for a pet. No way, Jose. Uh-uh. But she's got one. And of course, she has those chickens and her roosters, she names them. And we had that long legged rooster that was a Lothario. He was a Romeo. He was a lover. And when we rescued him from James's front porch, you ought to watch that video about the long-legged rooster and how he come to live on James's office, the front porch. That's what he did. Well, we couldn't have a rooster living because they poop, and but the next door neighbor was feeding him, and he stayed. After a big storm, he came in one night, and we don't know where he came from. We tried to find his home, and we don't know how, because he was a strange looking rooster. He had a You can look at that long-legged rooster stories on my video because they're still all there. So I called Kim, and Kim and Bruce came and got him, and we put him in a cage, and he was tame. So he had been used to a house. So Kim had him in. She watched him in a cage, and she had to delice him, and I don't know what all before she let him in with her chickens. But when she let him in with her chickens, her girl chickens, honey, he went wild. He was the happiest rooster. We didn't know for sure if he was a male or a female. We found out quick. He was a guy, and he thought all of them was his wives, concubines. And if they weren't his wife, he was he said, "You're going to be whether you like it or not." That's the truth. And Kim says, so I went out there one day, and I said, I come out and I thought I'd take some pictures of that long-legged rooster. She said, Mom, he passed away. I think he just wore himself out. Too many women, too many wives, and it just got the best of him. He died. We think he died of a heart attack. So maybe he died happy. I don't know. That was sad to us, though. Because Kim really liked him, but she said he would fight the other roosters off, and he picked one little rooster that a girl bred, a little hen, a little female chicken, whose name Kim names her female chickens too, and this one was named Gracie, and he would guard Gracie from the other roosters. They couldn't get near her. Now she was special. She was the head queen of that chicken coop and chicken. Well, they have fenced in now, the chickens, because there's a busy road out front. But chickens don't get out in the road. You hear all them jokes about why did the chicken cross the road? They don't cross the road. They know where they belong. Just like Big Tom, my big cat. Now we moved him from here over to James's house, and he's a happy cat. And when we moved him, I had to carry him in my lap, and I had him wrapped in a blanket. Well, as soon as I had him right like this, and I thought he was secure. I opened the door, and he's a big tomcat. He got right out of that blanket, jumped out on the ground, looked around like this, and we have a big concrete, uh, where he's going to build me a two-car thing where we can have a top over the head, and we can sit under it. And of course, I can't sit there with the mosquitoes, but I got those things I put on my arms. Now, I think they really keep them away, but we don't know for sure because I haven't sat out there lately without a roof over my head. It is shaded, it's not too bad. But anyhow, Big Tom jumped out of my lap, looked all around, and there's the house, and here's this big, concrete that is about 20 wide and about 50-foot long. And he walked over to the side door on the garage, and James was going in that way, and Big Tom just went in with him, and then he went on through the breezeway and just went on in the house. Said, I like it here, but he wants to be outside, and he's outside right now. He'll spend the day outside, and when we come home, he greets us. He don't. He just. We have about a half-acre ground there, and he don't get off of that property. See, he got hit by a car. He was a feral cat, which I used to feed him here on where I live, and he would come by and he would let me pet him, and I would feed him a couple other cats, and I never sent him to get fixed, but he got hit by a car, and you know what? He drug himself with a. He had been run over his jaw and his leg, and he was bleeding, and there he was, and I picked him up. I said, "What happened to you?" He had got hit by a car. He used to go across the street. He don't go near cars now. He learned. So I drug him in, and you've probably heard the story before, a lot of you. I called my friend that was she's the one that her name is Bev, and she gathers up the feral cats and they take them and get them fixed, and then they bring them back to the neighborhood where they came from and turn them back loose. Well, he didn't want to be turned back loose. After they took him, when her and the vet friend came and got him, and they said, we don't know if we can save him or not. And they took him away. In about a week or two, they called me and they said, we've been feeding him with a dropper. He can't chew or anything, but he is getting so he can eat soft cat food. So we're going to bring him back to you. And they did. And then I gave him away again to a friend that was passing away with ovarian cancer. Stayed with her till she passed away. And then her husband couldn't keep him, brought him back to me. I said, I guess he's my cat. He has claimed me, and we love him. And so he don't get off the property. Uh, he stayed here with me, but that was an aggravation because then he liked Bella, the other cat I had that used to want to do videos with me. If you see my old videos, Bella would come sit on the chair and stay there while I'm doing my video. And after she died, which we could not save her, we did everything we could to save her, but we couldn't. So when she got gone, guess where he wanted to be? He must weigh 12 or 15 pounds. He wants to sit in my lap, and I'm a small woman, and it was really aggravating. You cannot do a 15-pound cat in your lap and do a video. So I said, James, he's lonesome here. Let's move him to your house with the other cats because we had three cats over there, the little girls, which are characters, and the older cat that was so lonely that we got the two kitty cats for. And they love each other. She grooms them and takes care of them just like she's the mother. And they're still, if y'all been following me, I didn't want to, they wanted to sleep with us. And I couldn't hardly stand it after a while. And so, do you know, the Lord answered my prayer and they decided that they wanted to sleep in the breezeway. They didn't want to sleep with me anyhow. And they put themselves to bed now. When it gets about 7:30, they want to go out in their little breezeway, and I just shut the door, and there's no scratching on my door, which they did. We tried to make their room the laundry room. It's nice. We had a key litter box, we had little beds, we had everything. They wouldn't do it. They make up their own mind what they want. And of the morning when I get up, I let them out. And they come out. And sometimes, like this morning, I get up at 4 o'clock a lot of times. And so I like to go back to bed and get another half hour nap a lot of times. And she'll go with me and sleep with me. And I decided this morning, I don't know if I want to or not. And I just opened the door on the breezeway and she just walked in and I just shut the door and I didn't take a nap with her this morning. But she was good about it. So James was up and he let her out, but she didn't cause no problem. She is so attached to me that till she follows me around, meowing. And what she's saying is this: when are you going to sit down so I can get in your lap? Sit down, will you? I mean, she's just saying, sit down somewhere. And when I sit down, then but she's a small cat, so she's no problem. And I did my video yesterday with her in my lap part of the time. You couldn't hardly see her, but she was there. And she's a sweet cat. I call her baby girl. I was going to call her princess. It didn't work out. And the other one, James, he named her Sweetie number two, and she loves him. And now she's decided that every time James's cat, that if Big Tom can go out, which we let him out whenever he wants out, and he comes in when he wants to, she wants to go out with him, and she'll go out and stay. Now my little kitty cat is shy, and she won't go out unless her sister goes out. And that other cat, mother cat, we call her Mama Cat now. She don't go out. She's never been outside, never, and don't want to. She's happy at home, so she don't go. But if this sister, the James's cat goes out, then my little cat will go out too. And then when they want in, guess what? James's cat scratches on the door, the storm door, and you can hear her if we're sitting in our easy chair. And yes, James, I was doing the video, and his cat started scratching and we could hear him. And I said, I'm making a video. You're going to have to let her in. And he let her in. And Big Tom comes in when he wants to. Well, listen, I'm done. It's been fun. It was fun while it lasted, wasn't it, kiddos? And I love this picture. This is the one that you can. Now, I love running water. Don't we all love running water? Yes, we do. And see that little cabin up there with that around the porch? And I love porches. When I first moved here, where I live now, the first thing I did, it had a like a patio out front, just a small, like, let's see, about 6 by 8. And the first thing I did was put a roof on it. And Ben's, it was a kind of busy road. We could put me and Buddy could put our lawn, because I've been here since 1963. We put a couple of lawn chairs, and the kids would play in the yard, and we could watch the cars go by. Man, this has gotten a little much busier than that since I've moved here. They were saying when I moved here that they was going to put sidewalks in, and that was in 1963. Yes, we're going to widen the road and put in sidewalks. They would come and they would survey. I guess they surveyed 3 times during the years. But then 3 years ago, guess what? Now, how many years has that been? They came and they said, we're going to buy this so much of your property and we're going to pay you so much. Is that good? Well, it was pretty good. So I said yes, and they said we're going to fix it like it's really nice. Now I got a sidewalk in front of my house and people can walk and ride bikes, and it's just real nice. And of course I got a fenced in front yard that's not real big, but it's nice to be fenced in because people are not walking across your yard. So I like it. And it all worked out great. But look, from 1963 till about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, things do happen. And I want to tell you, children, everything keeps changing. Everything. You just have to go with the flow. And I know that's a cliche, but if you don't learn to go with the flow and make your changes as you go and adapt to whatever we need to adapt to, then you can't make it. And there's so many people that do not want to adapt, but I'm an adapter because when we went on the evangelistic field, I adapted to a whole new ball game. And when I married Floyd, it was a whole new ball game with him. It was fun. A lot of times he was good company. He liked my food, and I always want somebody to take care of. I'm a caregiver. And the Bible says that a man that finds a wife finds a good thing. And if he finds a Christian woman, he has really found a good thing. And number two thought because I had been married to a preacher that I was going to be perfect and never give him a bit of trouble. He was kind of wrong about that because I got a mind of my own for sure. And I'm independent. But I depend on the Lord. He is my Lord and Savior. He leads, guides, and directs me. And I want to walk that path like my brother Denny told me. Now, sis, you walk that path which would be pleasing to Jesus. And y'all join me in walking that path. Love you. Bye bye. Till next time.